Are you looking to impress your guests with a beautiful crudité display? Stay tuned. Hi everyone, welcome to Cooking with Chef Rich. As spring and summer is upon us, and as we open up from COVID, more and more people are going to be entertaining. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 different ways to present the crudité display. A crudité is just a raw vegetable platter. I'm going to show you 3 different beautiful ways to present a vegetable platter. And I'm also going to fight with the cabbage. So the fighting with the cabbage is my cameraman David's idea. I was just going to do it on the side. My cameraman David said, your viewers will actually appreciate you watching you fight with the cabbage. We'll see who wins. And it's just something to add to the video. Anyway, so our first crudité is just a classic vegetable platter. So, and over here I have a red cabbage. I've taken off all the dead leaves, and now comes the fun part. So I'm going to be using this as the center of my crudité and using it as a dip bowl. You can just use a regular dip bowl if you want, but I always use red cabbage because it goes with this theme of a crudité. You see over here where it starts to go down, like this is the high point of it. We're going to go maybe just a little bit down. And then we're going to cut off the bottom just so it sits flat. Yeah, see how it's wobbling? That's not what we want. We want it a little bit flatter. So this, if you want to make a coleslaw out of this or something, by all means you can. This is the fun part. What we want to do is basically we're just hollowing out a cup. Now cabbage to me is rather hard to cut. You got to be very, very careful with this, especially if you're using a big knife. So kind of going inward, we're just going to keep going around. Now it never comes out very nice, so I wind up kind of going across, and this is the fighting part where I just kind of take out chunks of it. You really want to be careful if you're using a sharp knife, or actually any knife. At this point, I'm just kind of going around and making it even. You don't want to go too deep because obviously you don't want holes in your cabbage, because we're going to be putting a dressing in here, or a dip in here, I should say. And in this corner, we have Chef Rich, weighing in at 180 pounds. And in this corner, we have a red cabbage weighing in at 2 pounds. We'll see who wins this fight. I'm determined now. It's a grudge match. Last time the cabbage won. Okay, pretty good. So just like so, and that will be our base. So over here, you notice I have a container that doesn't look very, very nice. And I've left it like this for a reason. Reason being is because I cut the vegetables yesterday. I always say I'm a caterer. And right before a party, there's always 10,000 different things you have to do. The last thing that you really want to do is worry about cutting up a crudité. So vegetables can be cut up a solid 30 hours before you need the crudité. As I said, I cut this up yesterday, but I want to show you what I did over here. So I'm just going to kind of cut the plastic wrap off. I've double wrapped this with plastic wrap. And what this is just wet paper towel that I've put over the vegetables, and you'll see that the vegetables look nice and fresh. So, as I had said, I cut them up yesterday, but they're perfect. You know, they look like they were just cut. Now, I have a different assorted of vegetables. Not all of these vegetables are going to be used right now. For this crudité, I'm doing, like I said, 3 different versions of crudité. So certain vegetables I use in one crudité, other vegetables I use in another crudité. So the first version, as I said, is just a normal platter of crudité. What we're going to do is I'm going to start with some broccoli. And basically, when you cut your vegetables, you want what I call large bite-sized pieces. See how this is? That's way, way too big. Should be more like that. You know, 1 or 2 bites at most. It's generally finger food. So that's like our first layer. And now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of fill this in, like wherever there's holes, we're going to kind of fill it in. So you get like a nice, it looks basically like a big bunch of broccoli. The good thing about doing a crudité is you can decide whatever vegetables you like. So broccoli over here. Then we're going to do the same thing with cauliflower. Once again, cut large bite size. And you notice I started on the outside first. This was basically 1 head of broccoli and 1 head of cauliflower. I'm definitely going to have too much cauliflower, but that's okay. We want it basically the same height as the broccoli. We'll fill that in a little bit, like so. Next thing. So now this is obviously green. Let's go with some orange. And I'm just using baby carrots. We'll go with some, so green, orange. Let's go with some more green, or celery in English. You just really want to go right up against the carrots, like so. Over here, so I have white over here. I'm gonna put some asparagus next to the white. Then I'm going to go with some red peppers. Try to turn the red peppers over a little bit so you see most of the skin, because the skin is definitely a lot more attractive than the underside of the peppers. And we're going to do some yellow squash. And you'll notice that the whole platter takes, once the vegetables are cut, the platter takes maybe 5 minutes. Actually, we're going to move this over a little bit, fill it in a little bit more. Generally speaking, I like nice full crudités. I have some cucumber that are also cut. And if there's spaces, you can just take a couple more carrots and fill it in. And we'll take a little bit more cauliflower to fill in the sides. And now what we're going to do, I have some tomatoes that I have just cut in wedges. We're going to go along the top of the cabbage with the tomatoes, just to give it a little bit more color, kind of bring it up a little bit. This is probably better on a round platter, but it's okay. And we're gonna take some olives and sprinkle some olives around. The black just gives it what I call shock value, like it's a very dark color, contrasting with all the bright colors. So it just makes it look very nice. Of course, if you don't like olives, you don't have to use them. A little bit more broccoli over here to fill that in, and voila. So this is our first crudité, and most basic. So that's our first one. And you'll see our cabbage. I have some balsamic vinaigrette. I have a video for how to make a homemade balsamic vinaigrette. You can check that out. It's actually a really nice, thick, creamy balsamic. And if you want, you can fill this in with some potato chips or taro chips or tortilla chips, and crudité is finished. So that makes a very, very nice presentation. I should at least mention a platter this size. Normally I do this on a round platter. I didn't have a larger round platter, so I did it on this one. A 16-inch platter is good for about literally 50 to 60 people normally. So this will feed a lot of people, because people take 2, maybe 3 pieces of vegetables. So there's a lot on there. So I just want to mention that, and I'll see you in a minute for the next platter. For this version of a crudité, this is an extremely elegant version of a crudité, really beautiful. It's only good for about 25 to 30 people if you're doing a cocktail party or something like that. This is a great version of a crudité. So I'm using a glass block. If you don't have glass blocks, you can use a book. You can take like a book and just cover it with a napkin if you want. You can use anything square. If you have a cake, like a cake stand with like a pedestal on it, that also works very well. So I'm using a glass block with a silver platter, but as I said, if you have a cake stand with a pedestal, works great. I have a colored martini glass, I have a regular nice glass, a bowl. I'll go over here. I have another creamer, for milk and coffee and tea. A little silver bowl. I have a couple of, now mind you, you don't have to have these exact things. You can go in like whatever types of things you have, whatever type of vessels you have, you can use, just as long as they all fit on the platter. Could be a little bit bigger, could be a little bit smaller. For this, like I said, about 30 people is perfect. So I'm actually gonna bring the glass over here. What I'm gonna do is I have some red peppers that I'm gonna put into the glass. And this is actually, out of all the crudité displays I've done, this is probably my favorite. Put some yellow peppers over here. And once again, we're gonna turn over some of those red peppers so they look nice and pretty. Get the nice shiny side. So I'm a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America, and something they always say at the culinary, pay attention to detail. These are just some sugar snap peas. You can use snow peas or sugar snap peas. So we're gonna put them over here. Now I'm gonna take some asparagus and put them in here. And the single most important thing is things look relatively full. We're gonna take some celery and put it in our creamer. We're gonna take some smaller pieces of broccoli. Line them up. It's a little bit big. Got these a little bit large for this type of platter, but that's all right. And then we'll go one more layer. We'll take some baby carrots, line them up over here. It doesn't really matter in what order you do things, just as long as all the colors are pretty. I'm gonna do 2 layers of the baby carrots. If you don't have baby carrots, you can cut your own carrots into like sticks. As far as dips go, so I'm using a homemade balsamic vinaigrette. I also have a video on how to make a homemade honey mustard, which goes really good with vegetables. You can use hummus, any flavor hummus that you like, you can use that. That actually always goes very well. Like very often for bigger parties, I will do assorted dips. So we'll do some cauliflower. We're gonna do some balsamic over here. I'm gonna take some black olives. Just put it on the cauliflower. Put a little more eye appeal. Put one more right there. And voila. Another crudité. This uses a lot less vegetables, obviously. As I said, it's for 25 to 30 people as opposed to 50 or 60. So this is second one. So this is basically the same platter you were just looking at, except for I took the cauliflower out. I just wanted to show you one other version. So these are the multicolored cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes. I just want to show you what it looks like when you're using these, because these are also very, very pretty. And sometimes I go with these instead of the cauliflower. I hate to say it doesn't make a difference what vegetables you go with, unless you have certain vegetable preferences. It doesn't matter what you go with. Throw a couple olives in there, once again, just for like so. And that's just another version, so you can see how things change if you change the vegetables. So, and in a couple seconds, I will show you how to do the last version of a crudité. So this is our third version, and this is for like 100 people or so. It's not for 20 or 25. I'm using just the cloth that I have, and you'll notice that it's not like sewn very nicely. It's fine, it's not a big deal. It has been recently washed. You can use a tablecloth. If your table's clean, you can just do it. Like if you have a nice granite or marble table, you can do it directly on the table. I always like to do it on the cloth. So I'm using a glass block once again, and I have a wicker basket. And what I'm gonna do is, first thing, I'm just gonna basically, like so over here, I'm just gonna fold it over so you don't see all those loose ends. You know, basically hiding the imperfections, if you will. And once again, just kind of go along and spin it a little bit. So you have a beautiful colored cloth to begin with. And it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly flat, it's fine, not a big deal. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna throw some cauliflower in a basket. The reason why I'm using cauliflower is because cauliflower is rather bulky. A little bit of broccoli, and fill in over here. And once again, you don't really want the stems sticking up. You want more so the flowers of the broccoli and cauliflower sticking up. And now we're just gonna be doing what I call strong lines of vegetables over here. I'm using some snow peas. And when you do this, you want to alternate colors once again. Very important, like mostly green vegetables. So you want to go green color, green color. I'm gonna go with some yellow pepper, which is still fine. Once again, just turn over the peppers. Now we'll do some asparagus. Now we'll do some, okay, so we have green. Let's go with carrots. Now with this, you're just gonna take bowls of whatever type of dips you're using, whether it be the balsamic or hummus or honey Dijon, whatever dip you like. Now we're gonna use some celery. And you'll notice that I start in back and kind of make it go downward, like so. Some more yellow peppers over here that were buried. So we'll throw them in. A couple more red peppers. Some yellow squash. And as I said, you can use whatever type of vegetables you like. It doesn't really make too much of a difference. Do a little more cauliflower. And as long as it looks somewhat full, you're good. Other things that you can add to this, if you know what taro chips are, which are like vegetable chips, you can put vegetable chips on the side or tortilla chips. Very often inside here, I will, I'll put tortilla chips on one side with salsa and guacamole, and my hummus and balsamic on this side. Have some cucumbers. So let's add cucumber over here. Celery. Also very important that the highest part is to the back, so it kind of goes down. Then we're gonna just take some tomatoes and sprinkle them along. some black olives on, get a little more color, and voila. Show you a couple other catering tricks. This is especially good for this type of platter as opposed to the other platters. With the silver platter, very often I will take, these are what they call leatherly ferns. You can use whatever type of greenery you like, but you can add some greenery on the sides. Leave it one in the middle, if you like, one or two in the middle. Make sure that you don't have any brown. That's what we call an eyesore, so I'm just gonna cut that off. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some fresh flowers. So I'm going with roses, but you can go with whatever type of flowers you like. Something I always talk to my cameraman, David, and one of the things that I always say is if you ever look at a magazine about food, very often you'll see a lot of flowers around the food. And if you actually take the flowers away and look at the picture without the flowers, the picture is absolutely nothing. Like the food doesn't actually look good. The part of the picture that actually looks good are the flowers. So by adding some flowers, to your presentation, if you take a look, it brings it up a whole nother notch. You can put flowers all around here. You can put greenery around here, flowers over here, and it just makes it look a lot nicer. The last thing, for catering purposes, these are cocktail napkins. I'm gonna show you how to fan these. You take, like it doesn't have to be a tight fist, just go like this a bunch of times. My hands are a little wet, so it's not really working too well. Just do that a bunch of times. And actually, I'm gonna do a couple more. My hands are drier now, which is good. From a catering standpoint, it's those little details that make your party look nice. Put them right on top, square. Hopefully you like my presentation. If you like this video, please give me that thumbs up that everyone always asks for. I'd very much appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Please leave some comments down below. I'd love to hear from you, and I will see you in the next video. Be safe, everyone. Bye-bye.